All right, guys. So by now you would have been added to a special sites core team um, group. So it'll be this one right here. It's called Special Sites Core Group. Okay, so what you do is you're going to click here. You'll go to Staff Notebook. Okay, and then in the Staff Notebook, it usually defaults to like this page here. Just click the little three books right here. And it's got all these sections. Now, every week you'll go to core meeting agenda, and then you'll go, we have meetings on Mondays. Unless we have a Monday off, then it gets pushed to Tuesday. But every Monday, expect to meet Ms. Bradford to send out those calendar invites. And so before we get there, we need to be ready so we can streamline the process. We're already meeting as a big group. I mean, it's counselors, ILT, admin, we got Miss Dion, we got Miss Gongora, our new CCF. We got Dr. Land, who's in charge of ALC South. It's a lot of us. So we need to be able to be ready for these meetings so they can be streamlined. Everybody has their talking points ready to go. So as you see here, for example, September 9th, click it here. We'll type in who attended, where the meeting was. They'll be in the ALC conference room, who the note taker was. We got our norms. And then from here, we have our different sections. Okay, we have our different sections. Sorry, um, counselors. You'll dive right in. Students of concern, ALC students, 1621, JDC, JJ. This should already be filled out before the meeting happens. All right, even though we have an official note taker, I mean, that way you're not having to dig and, oh, well, who am I concerned about? Like, you should already kind of know, right? So everyone will have access to go ahead and start. That way we can talk about it. We can collaborate. We can talk about, okay, well, yes, we're having an issue where I'm concerned about this student. Well, tell us why. Because, it's a lot of us in the room. We're all pretty smart people, right? We can figure it out together. But you got to have it in here. So, student concerns, either job concerns or updates. This is what I'm feeling. This is what we need. These are updates we're getting from the district, so on and so forth. You'll talk about special pops concerns and updates, and then testing updates if there are any. Right. Once counselors are done with with their part, then we move on to our instructional coaches. This is probably the longest section. We got to know what's going on in these classrooms. So if there were any action items from the previous meeting, we'll talk about that. We'll talk sped numbers, doc support, and then what's working well. What are some glows that you have around your campuses? Staff spotlight. Who's somebody that you really want to spotlight at one of the sites? What are some areas of concern? Who are we concerned about? Who needs additional support? Let's talk about it, right? So we can collectively make a plan for that person or those people. You're going to share your walkthrough form feedback from the previous week. What were the instructional? What was the focus and the plan for that week? And what's the plan for this week? Right? What's the schedule? If we have some teachers observing other teachers, what's the coverage going to be like? Anything else? Any other agenda items? So on and so forth. Then we'll move on to Ms. Gongora, college and career updates, information. We got this going on. This is information I need you to know. That'll be kind of Gongora's piece. Then we'll move on to Ms. Dion. Ms. Dion will give us some EB updates, campus concerns, specific student concerns, and then some PBIS updates. Dr. Land will give us all the info on ALC South, updates, concerns, numbers, all the things. And then the admin section, if we have something we kind of want to bring up, we'll go ahead and dump it in there. That way we can address it in the room. We can talk about it, right? After that, we'll have additional information such as calendar review. That'll be a big one. What do you have coming up? Hey, I'm out this week with ILT, or I'm out next week because I have an AP meeting, so on and so forth. We'll talk about it. We'll make sure that our calendars are synced up, that we know where everybody's supposed to be. And then from there, we'll move on to action items. Okay, that way we know for sure, like, hey, this person is,
Nathaniel to the front office.
sorry, is doing this thing and it's due by this date. That way we can all be on the same page so that the next meeting we can talk about it. Hey, well, yeah, I got this done. It was ready to go. I emailed it to you on such and such a date, or whatever the case may be. Okay, I have all the meetings laid out for the entire semester. We're ready to go. And so Besides that, you'll notice that there's a tab for everybody. There's a Dr. Land tab, there's a CCF tab, there's an instructional coaches tab, so on and so forth. This is available for you if you need it. Okay, it's just like a section. So here, everyone has their own brain dump. If you have something on your mind, an idea, a solution, something you want to bring up, and you just, whether you write it down or you just want to put it in the OneNote just so you don't forget, it's just a space for you. Okay, and then OneNote, I mean, not OneNote, I mean Teams, they function pretty similarly. So, like for example, under instructional coaches, if you wanted to add another section, like hey, I want to just add some stuff, like a section for my walkthroughs, or a students of concern section, a teachers of concern section, you can just add a page right here, right, and then you can just put teachers of concern. I mean, I don't know. You can delete this page if you want, but you can add a page. Maybe you put star teachers or whatever. It's just a space for you that y'all can collaborate, y'all can add information to. It's there if you need it. Do you have to use that? No, you do not. What we're most concerned about for our meetings, our purposes, is the meeting notes so we can be on the same page, right? Okay, so a big one, newsletter. This is a huge undertaking. Okay, I'm just letting you know, building this newsletter and putting it together, making it look good for staff, teachers and staff it's not that it's overly difficult, it is just very time consuming, which is why we ask for a newsletter submission every week. We want it by, I believe the deadline's Wednesday, Thursday, I forget, but we need it. Now, I added a newsletter section here. Now, in this section, and I'm going to read it out to you. In this section, it's going to be the easiest way to add your weekly newsletter submissions. Please add your submission by the weekly deadline to help us streamline the process. Please note that we will post your contribution exactly the way you present it. Now, it is easier for us to add images that already have your text blurb present in the picture. Okay, kind of like this one. Mr. Eubanks was gracious enough to buy Evening Flex students some cheese pizza on National Cheese Pizza Day. I took some photos. I added a short little blurb, okay, and then made it into a picture. And you might say, that seems out of my technological wheelhouse. I promise you, it's easier than it looks. And I made a video, Canva photo collage, of how to make something just like this. Okay, it's step by step. It's how to use Canva to your advantage. If you're not into using Canva, or if you've never attempted, I promise you it is very easy. Once you do it once or twice, you're like, oh man, why haven't I not used this before? You make the presentations, you make photo collages, you make all kinds of stuff with it. Okay, and so there's a video here. It shows you exactly how to use it. Mess around with it, toy around with it. It's great. It's going to help you out with these things a lot. That way you can get your newsletter submissions done. Post them right here. So you'll go into, like, for next week, September 15th newsletter. You can just go in here and then just write counselor. Oh, sorry, I don't know how to spell. And then just start adding your stuff. Put it in there. When we're building in the newsletter, we can just grab it and go. Grab it and go. We can get in there, Okay, and then I think that's it. But yeah, and so it's on a weekly basis. So that we want all your stuff in here. A little blurb about it. Who's posting it? That way we know exactly where to put it in the newsletter. Okay, we're gonna try this out for a couple weeks just to see if this is the easiest way for us to grab and go to build the newsletter. If it is, great. Well, I'll add more dates on there so we can streamline this process. And if it doesn't work well, if we feel like, I don't know, then, we'll pivot, right? Okay, use Canva. And if you have an iPad or even through your smartphone, you have Canva. You just use your district login, and it works great, and it's easy to use. I would recommend, if you have a tablet, it works great on the tablet. Phone is just a little bit smaller, harder to see. But definitely give it a try. All right, so if anything else, Teams, let's try to get used to it. I mean, it's a tool, so let's try to train ourselves to use it and see if we can make it work to our advantage. All right, thanks.